So folks, we're going to get ready to begin our service. Just a few quick notes before we get started. Anyone who is going to be speaking, this door is going to be closed for the service. So when I call you up, you're just going to use, there's a ramp just on the other side of the wall, and you'll come up and you'll speak at the microphone up here. Okay? So we're going to begin the service. We're going to ask the immediate mourners, the children, all just to stand, and you can just stand right where you are, and we're going to do the creative blessing. So if we get all the children to stand. And what we're doing now, this is one of the oldest symbols of mourning in Judaism. It's called the Kriya, and it dates back to ancient times when Jews would actually tear their clothing just as an outward sign that they were mourning the loss of someone. What we do here today is more symbolic. We're going to tear a ribbon, and this ribbon symbolizes the tear that you feel in your heart because mom is no longer with us. Okay? So I'm going to say a blessing, and the mourners, you can just repeat after me. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Dayan HaEmet. Translates to the Lord gives, the Lord takes away, but still we bless the name of the Lord. And we say together, Amen. You can be seated for services. So, as we begin our services here today, just one more announcement, folks. We would ask everyone if you could please turn off or just silence all electronic devices. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here today to honor the life and legacy of Marion Wexler. On behalf of the entire Wexler family, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us here today to celebrate Marion's life. She has undoubtedly touched all of your lives in a unique way, and I'd like to begin by offering some words and lyrics that speak to what most of you are probably feeling when you think about Marion. The first is a poem entitled The Precious Gift. One gift above all others God gives us to treasure, one that knows no time, no place, and one gold cannot measure. The precious, poignant, tender gift of memory that will keep our dear ones ever in our hearts, although God gives them sleep. It brings back long remembered things, a song, a word, a smile, and our world's a better place because we had married for a while. This next one speaks to the immeasurable love that Marion filled all of your lives with, and no doubt also the void that is left behind by her loss. It is entitled, How Deep is the Ocean? How can I tell you what is in my heart? How can I measure each and every part? How can I tell you how much I love you? How can I measure just how much I do? How much do I love you? I'll tell you no lie. How deep is the ocean? How high is the sky? How many times a day do I think of you? How many roses are sprinkled with dew? How far would I travel to be where you are? How far is the journey from here to a star? And if I ever lost you, how much would I cry? How deep is the ocean? How high is the sky? How far would I travel to be where you are? How far is the journey from here to a star? And if I ever lost you, how much would I cry? How deep is the ocean? How high is the sky? The Jews are an ancient people who are well accustomed to pain and grief. At times like these, the Psalms can bring us a sense of comfort. So in that spirit, I'd like to read a few now. The first is Psalm 121. I will lift mine eyes to the mountains, from whence shall my help come? My help cometh from the Lord, who made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in, from this time forth, both now and forever. And Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest the table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And finally, from the book of Ecclesiastes. To everything there is a season, and a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to uproot. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to break down, and a time to build. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to search, and a time to count as lost. A time to keep, and a time to discard. A time to tear, and a time to mend. A time to be silent, and a time to speak. And at this time, I would like to invite the family to come up and speak and share some of their memories. And we're going to begin with Marion's niece, Francine.
I'm going to speak to my aunt. See, Marion, this is your funeral, and yet here I am, and I'm asking, what do I do? And I realize that I'm only asking that because of what you did for me, always. Your life was all about family, and you were my family. Our family is mothers, fathers, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, brothers, sisters, cousins. You died leaving daughters, son, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, all connected and reconnected through you. Through all of us, your good name will live on. And each of us has thousands of beautiful memories of you hidden within us. The loss of you leaves each of us searching for a new center of gravity, a new way to stand. You are the last of your line of Rubinsons. You were our matriarch. Sherry, Helene, Felice, myself. We are your successors, the next matriarchs, matrifamiliases. And we all promise you, we each in turn will keep the fabric of our family tied tightly.
Thank you, Francine, for those beautiful words. Next, I would like to call up Marion's grandchildren, Adrian and Porphyrius.
What defines a grandmother? My mama was such a beautiful person and knew how to love with all her heart. All the memories of going to her house every weekend, I still remember, or we still remember to this day. A grandmother's love is unparalleled, and my mama's love was just that. No matter how sad we felt, or if we were having a bad day, she knew exactly how to make me feel better. She knew how to make me laugh with her Yiddish words that we didn't know, always picking on my grandfather in her own special way. She would notice everything and wouldn't miss a trick. If I had a stain on my shirt, food on my face, she would see it no matter how far I was from her. Mama, we love you so much and thank you for being such an amazing grandmother. You were truly a beautiful person. We will see you again, Mom. Take care, Papa. I know you both will be happy that you're together forever. We love you, and we will miss you so much. You were the best grandmother anyone could ask for, and I know I never said it enough, but we love you, and we always will. Goodbye, Mom. And from your loving grandson and your loving granddaughter, Porphy and Adrian. I also found this letter in the files, as I was looking through her files. I found this letter that my grandfather had wrote her on August 18th, 2002. It was actually a poem he wrote her. It said, if I had my life to live over, I could not have had a better one than the one that was given me. I am blessed with a wife who is the love of my life. I just pray God grant me a long and happy one with the most beautiful and wonderful girl in the world. Thank you over and over again. I love you, Marion Morty.
you, Adrian and Clefairdis. It was beautiful. And I'd like to read a poem now. It's entitled, We Remember Them. And I think it's appropriate because we can remember Marion and her husband, your grandfather. And we'll think of both of them when we listen to these words. At the rising of the sun and its going down, we remember them. At the blowing of the wind and the chill of winter, we remember them. At the opening of the buds and the rebirth of spring, we remember them. At the blueness of the skies and the warmth of summer, we remember them. At the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them. At the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. As long as we live, they too will live, for they are now a part of us as we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joy we crave to share, we remember them. When we have decisions that are difficult to make, we remember them. When we have achievements that are based on theirs, we remember them. As long as we live, they too will live, for they are now a part of all of us as we remember them. And finally, from the family, I would like to call up Marion's niece, Felice.
As I was making the memory board for Aunt Marion, I looked at all the pictures and I was overcome with such gratitude. I saw the pictures of Aunt Marion and my mom as young girls down the shore in Atlantic City. They were just two sisters, their mother and aunt sitting off behind them a bit. My mom was holding a big beach ball. And Aunt Marion, she was eating her French fries. That had to be done crispy. Don't let them come out if they are not crispy. She'll send them back. These two girls created us, all of us. I'm so in awe of the life that they built for us. Growing up in Willingboro, I have random memories. I don't remember that many, but I just always remember being surrounded by my family. The common theme was that she was the fun aunt. She always made me laugh with all the lines and jokes that came out of nowhere. She just always had one. She never failed to deliver. Whenever I would introduce her to a new person or group of friends, I would always forewarn them about Aunt Marion and tell them that she was going to say something, maybe inappropriate, maybe off-color, but always funny. And guess what? She never disappointed. She did not. After Uncle Morty passed, we became closer. We would spend most Sunday mornings together while Griffin was at Hebrew school. She would get up and go get bagels, and she had toys in her apartment for Maddie to play with. We just sat there and chatted about everything. She was always up to date on the latest pop culture info and loved telling me what she learned about Reader's Digest. She always had a new way to clean something, a better way to store things, or a new product that she couldn't live without. She also loved her QVC, HSN. She would sit up at night and watch them, and she would call and order things. And then she would say, Felice, this isn't what I ordered. Can you send it back? She loved a good deal. She loved to shop. Our favorite was when she worked at Ross and it was a 40% off sale for the employees. And we would go and putz around the store for hours just figuring out what was going to be the best deal what she could get. And Marion always checked in on us. God forbid we didn't call her back. And if we didn't call her back fast enough, there'd be another message. Elise, why aren't you calling me back? It's your aunt. Call me back. Elise. And then she'd try and hang up the phone, and she couldn't. And you'd hear her yelling at the phone, this goddamn phone. I don't understand this goddamn phone. And then we got her a new phone, and that was worse. I am lucky enough to have tons of voicemail messages from her. She always asked about Kevin and the kids, remembering if they had an event, and always asking how things went. If Kevin was in the hospital, she called every day to check on him and me. If my sister had a dog show, she would ask what dog it was and how her dog did. If there was bad weather, she would always ask me how Billy made out driving to work. She had no clue where Billy worked or what he did. She always asked about how he got there, and she knew that it was really far away. She was really good about that kind of stuff, just checking in. The past year, as her cancer progressed, she relied on us more. My brother, sister, and I took turns doing stuff for Aunt Marion. Taking her to the doctor was always an adventure with Aunt Marion. You never knew what she would say, so it was an adventure for sure. She would tell the doctors what was wrong. She would tell the nurse what was wrong. And then she'd tell everybody else. You never knew what was going to happen. She was so lucky that her cancer did not hold her back until very recently. This year also brought a new level of joy as she welcomed her daughter Sherry back to her life. From the beginning, there was a warmth that comes with family. It was just comfortable. I know that she was so proud of Sherry, Alicia, and Josh, along with Randy and Julie. She loved all the time that you guys have spent together with all her grandkids and her great-grandkids. She loved her trip to Texas. That was a highlight. She loved all of her great-grandchildren and loved when she could visit them. It was really a miracle that you found each other and had this time together. I feel so honored and privileged that I had this time with her. And having the time to take her to all the appointments and just be with her, I'm gonna miss all that time.
Thank you for this. And thank everyone from the family. You all spoke beautifully. While I didn't know Marion personally, your words helped to bring life to who she was and provide meaning even to those of us who didn't know her. I'd like to read the following poems as if Marion were here now. If she were here, I think she might say to all of you, don't grieve for me, for now I'm free. I'm following the path God laid for me. I took God's hand when I heard God call. I turned my back and left it all. I could not stay another day to laugh, to love, to work or play. Tasks left undone must stay that way. I found that place at the close of day. If my parting has left a void, then fill it with remembered joy. A friendship shared, a laugh, a kiss. Ah yes, these things I too will miss. Be not burdened with times of sorrow. I wish you the sunshine of tomorrow. My life's been full, I savored much. Good friends, good times, a loved one's touch. Perhaps my time seemed all too brief. Don't lengthen it now with undue grief. Lift up your heart and share with me. God wanted me now. God set me free. And finally, I think Marion would want us to remember her in this way. This is a poem entitled Afterglow. I'd like the memory of me to be a happy one. I'd like to leave an afterglow of smiles when life is done. I'd like to leave an echo whispering softly down the ways of happy times and laughing times and bright and sunny days. I'd like the tears of those who grieve to dry before the sun, of happy memories that I leave when my life is done. We're now going to conclude our service here today with the traditional Jewish prayer of Mole Raphanim. So I would ask if everyone, if you're able to comfortably, to please rise. O God, exalted and full of compassion, grant perfect peace in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the soul of Marion Wexler, who has gone to her eternal home. Master of mercy, we beseech you, remember all the worthy and righteous deeds that she performed here in the land of the living. May her soul be bound up in the bonds of eternal life. The Lord is her portion. May she rest in peace, and let us all say together, Amen. Amen. From here, the family is going to Roosevelt Memorial Park in Trevose, Pennsylvania for the burial. Everyone is invited to attend. We will have driving directions out in the lobby that you can take with you. We're going to ask everyone that is going to the cemetery, please turn on your headlights and four-way flashers. We will go in procession. Unfortunately, in New Jersey and in Pennsylvania, funeral processions do not have the right of way. So please just be very cautious and careful if you are proceeding through a red traffic light or something along those lines. The directions that we give you will have the GPS address if you want to plug that in just as a backup for when we're going to the cemetery. Once again, on behalf of the entire Wexler family, I would like to thank you all for joining us here today to honor Marion's life. My fervent wish is that Marion's memory will continue to be a blessing for all those whose lives she has touched. This concludes our services here today. Please take care, be well, and be safe. Thank you. For those of you who have jackets in the family room, now would be the time to get them.